Pakistan's economic crisis is deepening, with the rupee this week hitting its lowest level on record against the US dollar.
Amid the economic crisis in Pakistan, the country has reportedly sought the support of the United States in reviving the International Monetary Fund program.
Pakistan has been hit by a series of shocks, all contributing to its economic problem.
Did you just see that? The only Muslim country to have nuclear weapons is on the brink of an economic collapse. There's a food crisis, energy shortages, inflation mayhem, and a currency that is abysmally low. And the country's planning minister has now advised to stop taking tea, as sipping fewer cups a day would cut Pakistan's high import bills. Well, Pakistan is facing the worst crisis since its inception, and the situation is only getting worse with each passing day. But you might be wondering why a crisis in Pakistan must concern you. Stick to the end of this video to know why. What happens in Pakistan does not stay in Pakistan. It may come to haunt everyone. But before moving forward, we'd like you to support our work and subscribe to our channel. Any debate on Pakistan's crisis would be incomplete without explaining what's happening with this rollercoaster economy. Number 1. The debt dilemma. Pakistan is in the global south, but most of the country's problems are self-inflicted. Since the start, the country has been reliant on loans from friendly countries to fuel its economy. According to the World Bank, Pakistan's total external debt stocks increased to $130 billion by the end of 2021, from $115 billion by the end of 2020. The country's external debt has also reached $126.9 billion in September 2022. Such a massive amount of debt means that the country's economy is already on the ventilator, and by default, Pakistan's budget is in negative terms. But as debt is not going away, another irritant has come to haunt the citizens. Number 2. Galloping inflation. Well, the current world is already grappling with the Ukraine crisis, and you could argue that inflation is not just Pakistan's problem. You might be true, but partly. And if you want to know the reason exactly, you need to wait a few minutes, as we will dissect the underlying causes shortly. But what you need to understand is that the country is facing record levels of inflation. Inflation in the country was at a 48-year high in January, as thousands of containers of food items, raw materials and equipment were stuck in ports after the cash-strapped government curtailed imports. Still, inflation is out of control. Every essential commodity, including eggs, bread, fuel and milk, has increased by 30 to 40%. As a result, the rupee fell by 9.6% against the dollar on January 26th. The situation was further fueled by the fact that at the end of March 2022, the State Bank of Pakistan's reserves stood at $11.425 billion, but they gradually tanked to an almost 4-year low of $6.715 billion on the 2nd of December. In fact, by late December, the reserves were equal to just 5 weeks of merchandise imports. So the government did not have money to bear its expenses, which eventually led to another problem, the power shortage. Number 3. The power and energy crisis. A wave of darkness engulfed Pakistan in January as its aging power grid strained to meet the country's demand for electricity. At first glance, it seemed like a technical error, but on introspection, it revealed that the government did not have the money to pay back independent power plants. So, to counter this, the government ordered all federal departments to reduce their energy consumption by 30% and close all markets by 8:30 p.m. It appeared that Pakistan was back to the Stone Age, where there was no electricity. On top of that, another dilemma was waiting to hit them in the face. Number 4. Food shortages and wheat crisis. Pakistan is still suffering from the worst wheat crisis in history. Long queues can be seen to collect government-subsidized flour. Normal flour packets have increased by almost 200% from the last year. This is largely due to wheat smuggling to neighboring Afghanistan and recent floods that have ravaged agricultural output. For the common man, living in the country has become difficult, and this cycle is increasing with each passing day. But who's responsible for this mess? How did the country plunge into chaos, especially when its growth rate was increasing by 6% a few years ago? Let's delve into this. Number 5. Political instability. Pakistan is unlike the democratic world out there. For most of the country's history, it has been ruled by military dictatorships, and you'll be amazed to know that no prime minister in the country's history has completed his full tenure. The last victim to fall was the country's leader, Mr. Imran Khan, who appeared to have been defeated by the opposition in a vote of no confidence. But in reality, as claimed by various Pakistan media, his regime was toppled by an all-powerful military. So when Mr. Khan was ousted from power, his political demise completely shattered the economy. This hampered the confidence of investors and the country's revenue dwindled. Presently, 2 out of 4 provinces in Pakistan are without any government, and a weak interim setup is managing the daily state of affairs. But the political crisis isn't the only culprit. Unprecedented floods further wreaked havoc. Number 6. Ravaging floods. Pakistan is an agricultural-based economy. Almost 20% of its GDP depends on its crops, but nature had other ideas. From the 14th of June to October 2022, floods in Pakistan killed 1,739 people and caused $14.9 billion of damage and $15.2 billion of economic losses. The rice and wheat crops were damaged, which led to an unimaginable loss. So in the start, when we were talking about the foreign exchange loss, we wanted you to understand that these floods spoiled the party. Exports remained stagnated and imports rose, which increased the pace of the economic catastrophe. Along with that, there's another issue: the structure of Pakistan's economy. Number 7. Pakistan's economic structure, the elitist economy. You see that Pakistan's economy has an irritant. The rich enjoy the wonders of capitalism, while the poor bear the brunt. The elites enjoy tax exemptions and subsidies, while the middle and lower classes pay the highest indirect taxes. The general sales tax in the country is around 18%, which is paid by everyone regardless of income level. On top of that, Pakistan has been termed a national security state. Most of its budget is allocated to defense, and its military consumes most of the resources. Thus, a limited amount of funds are available for education and public spending. Likewise, the economy is consumption-based and investment in the country is limited. All these factors result in higher expenditures and lower revenues. But why might this concern you? Well, Pakistan is the 5th most populous country in the world. But this country has nuclear weapons. Any instability would make it vulnerable to non-state actors. You need to realize that Afghanistan is a neighbor of Pakistan, and there too, Taliban are causing a mess. Moreover, Pakistan is a country with multiple ethnicities. If its economy fails to revive, it might disintegrate like the Soviet Union. And then, the possibility of its nuclear weapons in the hands of terrorists cannot be ruled out. This could become a global security threat. Number 8. So what to do? First of all, global countries must not neglect Pakistan. IMF is already here to help. But for that, Islamabad needs to fulfill the economic body's terms and conditions. Meanwhile, political stability is the need of the hour. Relative stakeholders should immediately call for elections. Any major breakthrough could only be achieved if the perks and privileges of the elites are curtailed and human development is given priority. Conclusion: there's a massive balance of payment crisis, and inflation is here to stay. Furthermore, power breakdowns and food shortages have made the lives of people miserable. This is against the backdrop of political crisis, as no single head of the state has ever completed his full term in office. The strong military has meddled in political affairs that have further caused instability. Nature is also not on the side of Pakistan, as recent floods have destroyed 2 major provinces. Time will tell what will be the course of Pakistan's history. But there's one thing for sure: if the country needs to progress, it will require massive economic reforms. And the global powers cannot think of neglecting the land of the pure. So, what do you think about the current economic crisis in the country? Who's responsible for this crisis? Let us know in the comments below.